Hello, hello, beautiful souls of this community. How are you doing today? Welcome to today's live. You may see the title of the live is that yes, I have left my home country. Today is an anniversary date for me, 19 years ago. And the first country I was to go to was Japan. Yes, I was scheduled to teach English there, and that's what I did for couple years, and in that time frame I also learned how to cook some delicious Japanese food. I've been living abroad for the last 19 years. As you probably know already, my name is Lori, and I am here to support you on your healing journey, on your wellness journey, on your journey to transform your life so you can live your best life and be in the highest energetic vibrational frequency for you possible. And the way to do that, or one of the ways that I teach you how to do that, is through the food that you eat. Today, I want to share with you one of my favorite Japanese recipes. It's super easy, super delicious. It's great specifically in the wintertime, but I have eaten it all year round. It is called Nabe, N-A-B-E, Nabe. So this is a Japanese soup, basically, but you can make different variations. And the best part is that it's really easy. And it's super healthy as well. And usually in Japan, they would have even something called a nabe party where you get together and you all enjoy this. For other cultures, it might be a little bit difficult not understanding the concept of it. But of course, if you're in my life, you probably have even been invited to a nabe party at my house because I do enjoy to host these kinds of events and share these delicious recipes with people in my life. So for making this beautiful recipe, the nabe that I make, now there, like I say, there's different variations. The most simplest, beautiful one that I like to make, you have to make first your water base that you're going to have your soup in. Now I've already been cooking this here for a while, so I'm not going to open this lid yet, but I will show you what's in there. So to make the base, what you need is seaweed and water and mushrooms. That's what I like to make as a base. The seaweed and the mushroom, actually, both of those, cooking in the water for a while. I like to cook the base for that, even if I can't have it on a low heat, for about an hour before I'm ready to actually start eating. Now that's not necessary, but it allows the flavors to come into the soup broth even more. And that's making for deliciousness later on. And it creates that umami flavor. So you have the seaweed and the mushrooms creating the umami flavor, and that is going to be already delicious. And some things that I love to add in my soup. So as you probably already know, because you're following me and you're on your conscious health journey as well, conscious living journey, I don't use animal products in any of the food that I'm making in my kitchen. Generally, I just don't. And of course, this is also in alignment with that. So the vegetables that I like to add are this white Chinese cabbage. It's a long one like this. Yeah, I believe it's often called Chinese cabbage. It's the best one. I know I said it's a Japanese soup, but it's the best cabbage that I find goes with this one, and it's often in Asia found easily as well. But you can find it, of course, in all supermarkets nowadays, and often even in farmers markets as well. So this longer type of cabbage, I cut up that. Now, I'm usually making for two people. I love vegetables, so I put in lots. You're going to have to figure out how much you want to go with it, but it's not that difficult. Cabbage shrinks down like all leafy vegetables do when you put them in your soup. I usually add also some, like I said, mushrooms from the beginning when I'm doing it's actually called like dashi, is the soup base. But I usually save some more mushrooms that I add later on when I'm ready to put all my vegetables in. And I put usually all of the vegetables in at the same time. And because it's only vegetables and nothing too coarse or thick or really needs a lot of cooking time, usually 15 minutes in the pot and everything will be ready. So it's pretty simple. I have today a special first time actually using this mushroom in nabe. It's called lion's mane. I bought it from our local market this last weekend. So I've cut and used about half of this this big one that was in here, and just chopped it up and put that inside. White radish is also the daikon. Japanese white radish also is really good in the soup, and just cutting it up into bite-sized pieces, again, however much you want. That's probably the one that's going to be the toughest for cooking, but again, it's like, it's a vegetable. It doesn't need to be a specific texture only up to your preference of how your bite is, the texture that you want, but it really could even be eaten raw, so it's not a big deal. But like I said, usually 10 to 15 minutes of everything cooking in the pot is best. I like to add tofu. Now, today I realized I wanted to cook this meal for celebration for myself and share this recipe with you. And I realized that the only tofu I had at home was this silken tofu. And it's really beautiful and super silky and super creamy type of tofu, but it generally doesn't go good in a soup because it will like almost fall apart, or it will fall apart really easy. So I didn't put this in my soup. I'm going to just put it in my bowl on the side when I'm eating because I don't want to have like a tofu mash, I don't know, tofu puree in my soup. That's not the point. Usually I would, not usually, I would suggest buying a tofu, always organic, if you can as well, doing definitely GMO free tofu, and buy a firm one because that is the texture that you want that's going to hold in their soup. And then just cutting it up also into blocks. And the tofu, just a plain one is best, but you can also go if they have smoked ones available or smoky flavor. That will also be nice. I quite like it. So we have seaweed, this Chinese cabbage, Japanese daikon or white radish, and I said mushroom. Any kind of mushroom is really fine. I've used the white, brown bell mushroom, button mushrooms. I think I've even probably chopped up a portobello mushroom in there once before. Like I say, now I try lion's mane. I've done this, what is it called? Last week I had posted about a king's trumpet, eringi maybe mushroom. It's like a big fat one. That was also really good. There's also, like in Japan, they have this really skinny little long thin noodle-like almost mushrooms. Those ones work really well as well. So really any of them are going to be okay. Um, and one more vegetable that is like, for me, it's a must is leek. This long onion type of vegetable, but it doesn't have the bulb of the onion. It's just this long, skinny, like a spring onion, but it's like a really fat, thick stalk. And I chop that up. I personally like it into quite thick pieces and chunks because that's just the way I like. I want to taste it when I'm putting it in my mouth. And basically, that's the ingredient list. That's the base for this recipe. It's so simple. It's so delicious. And that cooks in here. Now that's what I have cooking here. I hope you can see what's going on here. It's just finishing up on the pot or on the element cooking here. So it's really quite thick. I have a lot of cabbage in here that I put in. You can see the darker pieces. That's the seaweed that I have. And everything else is in here that I just mentioned. I don't have any other tricks up my sleeve there. That is delicious just on its own. Traditionally, people in Japan would be eating it with white rice. So you'd have your soup and you have a small bowl, two small bowls actually. One is with your white rice and the other small bowl has something called ponzu. Ponzu is something you can make on your own. It's also very easy, but you can generally nowadays find stuff like this on the supermarket shelves already made. This one is specifically a ponzu called yuzu ponzu, which yuzu is a citrusy fruit in Japan. It's so good. I couldn't resist not to buy this overpriced ponzu. Of course, it's organic, so that helps the price range sometimes, especially when it's really coming from farther away. But this is delicious, and you can just put some of this ponzu in your bowl with a little bit of water, perhaps, or even a little bit of the soup base. And basically, is what you do is you take some of the soup into your ponzu bowl, so it gets the flavor also of the ponzu, and I'm going like this because I usually eat it with chopsticks, right? So then, yes, I have my chopsticks here always in my kitchen. So you take your vegetables and all the goodies out of your soup bowl and you put it with the rice, and then you're eating it together. That's the idea. Now, of course, you can do it however you want. There's no right or wrong. There's no Nabe police going to come knocking on your door. You can make your own ponzu as well. Some good things to put in there would be a tamari sauce. I say tamari because it is wheat free, or if you're using soy sauce, look for a wheat free one. It's just generally better, or definitely GMO free. Organic is always something we want as well. And you just would like a little bit of that tamari. And you can add, again, a little bit of water in there. You can put in a little bit of Vinegar is nice because you like that sour taste. Like I said, this ponzu has this citrus taste in here. So making your own, you'd want to try to create yourself a little bit of citrus. So you could put in a little bit of vinegar, tamari, and water. And then also sometimes my husband has made it before as well. I generally get him to do that job in the kitchen. He'll put in mirin, which is another Japanese ingredient for cooking, or even Japanese sake for cooking, can just make a little bit nice flavor, and just play around with it a bit. You can also put in seaweed into your ponzu as well. And different types of seaweed. I like to have these little ones at home like this. This one is specific. It's called wakame, but there's so many different types of names of seaweed. You can use whatever is available for you. Of course, there's going to be certain ones that some people will say are better than others. Like for example, this one has big thick strips. It's this more like kombu. It's still, again, all under the seaweed category. This is what I have in my nabe today. I've broken it up and put in little pieces. This one, I believe maybe the name might be actually kelp. It's more stringy. None of them are wrong. They're all different, a little bit different texture, a little bit maybe different taste. But for even someone like me who lived in Japan for 5 years, I wouldn't think most foreigners would be too fussy one way or the other with which type of seaweed they put in. And I imagine even if you were serving a Japanese person, I don't think they would complain that you used the wrong seaweed, because I just don't think they would. So yes, I believe that's everything. Aha, one more. Another really nice addition to your nabe is kimchi. If you have your own fermented kimchi, that's wonderful, or maybe you have access to it. Just be careful when you buy kimchi, because it can be pasteurized, which means that it has therefore killed the good bacteria that we want from something fermented. And a lot of times it has anchovies or oyster sauce, fish paste in there, which is also not in alignment with animal-free eating. So yes, thankfully I have a good source, so I will be eating my nabe with kimchi, absolutely. What else can go in there? I think that's basically it. You don't need to put much else in there. It's a super delicious meal. Of course, leftovers are always good with this one as well. And like I say, traditionally it would be eaten with white rice. I just transfer that to brown rice, so I make my own brown rice. You can also eat it with noodles if you would like to. Again, more not so common. Usually they would have still with the white rice, and then maybe closer to the end, because it's a nabe party and there's lots of food and talking and chatting going on, they would also have some noodles sometimes that they eat with it. Usually probably a buckwheat noodle would go. And it's not that the noodle is cooked in the soup, because you wouldn't want to overcook it in the soup. You would cook it on the side, and then just again, similarly like you have your rice on the side, you would put your noodle on the side as well and eat it that way. And of course, you can also put in little dumplings, gyoza or jiaozi, whatever you want to call them. These little Asian dumplings. You can also put those in your nabe as well as a little treat. It's nice to pull those out when you're scooping around for getting some good food in there. Yeah. So I hope this recipe finds you well. My dog is certainly happy that I'm sharing it with you. If you have any questions about how to do this recipe, how to make it, anything like that, let me know. I'm here for you. I want to share these beautiful recipes with you because they are so healthy, they're so delicious, they're full of life force food, and that is what you need to get that energy raising and rising up. You need to root down and rise up, and here is a beautiful recipe for you to do that. Take care. Wishing you all the best. If you're interested to work with me, I have some spots available, and I am absolutely open to taking a call with you so we can see if we're in alignment to work together. Reach out if you're interested. Take care and bye for now.